It's time for Cup of Red, so let's fill your cup with rad pop culture vibes. And now your over-caffeinated hosts, Mike and Katie. Hey everybody, it's Mike.
And Katie.
And we are here for your ears with Cup of Red, another week of thrilling adventures for your ear holes.
Adventure!
This week in our cup we have
some David's tea, and it is gingerbread latte. Right? Gingerbread blondie. Now I can't remember. Oh no! Either way, it is like dessert in a cup.
That's right. We needed something to warm us up, and coffee didn't sound fantastic today. Well,
are you okay? Did you just have a stroke? We had lots of coffee already.
This morning, yes.
We have new tea, and they had little sugary gingerbread people, and they were adorable. So
first few sips has been pretty good. So,
but yeah, it's Christmas season upon us for different things, and I'm slowly getting into it.
Christmas hit, and I am trying to 100% embrace it.
You know what? I'm surprised that you have not just gotten out our Christmas decorations yet and be like, this is happening.
Well, I'm trying to be respectful for you, but
I think I don't know. It might be a weekend earlier than normal. I think our son is right on board with that too. He's like, why are we not decorating it?
Well, because how everything happened with October, we didn't really have a lot of Halloween-y celebrations between school and visits and all this stuff.
Oh yeah,
it flew by without having the normal kind of everyday Halloween-y adventures.
So we're trying to prevent Christmas from happening like that.
Yeah, so it's not like when after Christmas passes and we're like, oh, what happened to Christmas?
So we end up leaving our stuff up all through January and just continue our Christmas season.
Yeah, that seems weird though.
Yeah, we can't do that.
I'd rather.
So it makes sense to be able to decorate a little earlier, you know.
I already put Christmas music on.
Yeah, we've actually been listening to that the last few days, and it feels oddly normal.
Yeah.
It's actually really accepting. It was mellow and calm, and yeah, it's been nice.
I find like the indie or like the acoustic ones, not the traditional classic crooner stuff. It's more like guitar feel.
Yeah, well then the classic crooner stuff will hit with the December.
Yeah.
Because Christmas does not start without the Rat Pack. That is my definitive start for Christmas, so... We will have Christmas and a Christmas episode for sure, so we can talk about all things that we care about for Christmas.
Yes, there's a couple things coming in December. Not only are we going to have, of course, the Rise of Skywalker, but we're also going to have a Christmas episode where we maybe count down a little bit of some of our favorites in time for maybe you to go find them.
Yes.
And watch them. As well as a special Christmas Eve episode for you all that hopefully you'll be able to listen on Christmas Eve with your family.
Yes, definitely.
So it'll be a short one too, so we won't cut too much into your ear time. This month we still have our original Star Wars trilogy episode coming up for you.
Yes. Very excited. Next weekend is just going to be all Star Wars. And Christmas decoration maybe.
Star Wars. Talking about Star Wars. As we get excited for that. And we are going to brave the hordes to go see Frozen 2.
Yes, I got tickets already for that. I figured, you know what, why not? When they first announced this sequel, I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry, but Frozen was not, it was cute, but I couldn't get behind it. And a lot of it, I don't know if it was my age. I mean, not having a little girl too, that was part of it. If I had a little girl, I probably would have been even more so behind it, but it was such a different than the traditional Disney that I was used to. So when they announced the second one, I was like, whatever, you know. But when the trailers hit, I was intrigued, and the last trailers, it seems definitely more adventurous, and I'm way more excited for it than I thought I would be. Yeah, so I'm hoping it won't let us down. So, and Kiddo was excited to go see it, and figured why not? And we got good seats, so it'll be good stuff.
So this last little week here, we got to dip into the cosmos of another movie we did not go to theaters to see, but we were able to see. And the movie was Booksmart. Yeah.
That one wasn't really on my radar when it first came out by any means. And then afterwards, it was like, oh, man, I wish we had seen this. So I'm glad that when you were able to get it from the library. And I really enjoyed it. It was good laughs and a nice, good, kind of a interesting take on things. And I like your commentary that you think it was a... kind of a new telling of American Pie or Can't Hardly Wait.
Yeah, actually, all those totally ones fits. Super Bad, all those. It's the coming of age story for a generation.
And it always happens on graduation night.
Yeah, it's all those ones that hit. And, it was directed by Olivia Wilde.
Yeah, directorial debut for that.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool to see. It was a funny little thing. It's a coming of age story with lots of laughs, and it is pretty much your typical teenage graduation night movie.
Well, yeah, you have all the stereotypical characters and everything.
And you hit those same beats, but it's still enjoyable. And I'm pretty sure that people that have enjoyed those comedies can relate, even if you haven't been in school for many, 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 many years.
Yes,
you can still relate to what's kind of going on there and the trials and tribulations that kids deal with, right?
Honestly, with the concept of graduation, it is a weird turning point in everyone's life. Like, I remember too, it's this weird, like, I've successfully completed something, but now I'm off onto this whole new thing, and you feel like you want to wrap something up, start something new, and you don't want to let go of it too. Like, I really enjoyed high school, so it was a weird sense of letting that go, and it's a weird time in your life, I think. And, one thing I liked with this movie is, opposed to, say, like American Pie or Can't Hardly Wait, there was a little bit more extreme, like, kind of quirky characters. And this one almost seemed a little bit more real feel. And I kind of liked that. There wasn't, other than Gigi, which was hilarious. And
she didn't really seem real.
No.
She didn't really seem like she was actually
She
there.
seemed like a figment.
She was like an imagination.
She was a hallucination, collective hallucination of everyone. It was hilarious.
Right.
And I really enjoyed it. I was surprised on how much I had fun with it.
So if you don't know, Booksmart is basically about these two girls that are Booksmart, and they've really tried really hard to do everything by the books throughout their high school years.
Well, yeah, everything was focused on doing everything is working as hard as you can, doing all your homework, not breaking the rules. I'm going to get as far as possible, right?
Yeah, and then they basically find out that people don't really like them, so they decide that they're going to try to change their minds by going to their first party on graduation night, and then the hijinks ensue. So definitely something. If you
it was just funny.
It's a good laugh.
Yeah,
definitely check out Booksmart. So last week we did Super Fight for you, a little review of a card game because we enjoy humorous card games where we can just laugh. This week we also are going to take a look at another card game that we've been playing. It's called Pitchstorm, a party game of amazing/horrible movie ideas. So the premise is that you are a writer and you are going to pitch to your executive a movie.
Yes.
So in our little demonstration that we're going to do right now, there's only two of us. We've always played it with three.
Yeah.
So
the idea of you're trying to win the best movie and the executive has to pick your movie over the other person's. Right?
Exactly. So you have character cards that have cues with characters on them. Mm-hmm. Some examples would be a grizzled sea captain or a noble barbarian from a distant land.
Let's see. I have a group of kids at boot camp, or an aging butler reminiscing about their glory days.
And then you'll pick up a plot card or vice versa, right? Mm-hmm. And you've got to try to tell a story with what you have. Say, struggles with the bleak reality of big city life, right?
Yeah.
So in that, you have to come up with a story on the fly, and your executive will have note cards, and they will try to derail you.
Yeah,
add hilarity.
How we think about it, the idea of the big bosses come in and they take this movie and then they just jam another idea in there. It's like you have to just run with it, and it's really funny that executives can do that at any time and interject these moments there. So
we're gonna do just two quick rounds just to give you a taste of what it is, because we quite enjoy it because it creates that critical thinking.
Well, and having to think quickly and try to flesh out an idea for something. So.
And you can play with a lot of people too, which is really cool.
Yes,
because we played it where we had one person was in charge of the character cards, one person was in charge of plot, and then they go together and you got to carry the story. So it gets even more wild with that.
Oh yeah, that's always fun. Okay. Mike, you're up. Pitch me your movie.
All right, so we're gonna be here in a hip vampire club, an overweight vampire that just wants to fit in, who decides to go on the mad quest to kill the whale that ate his leg. So back in the day, he was a sea captain that was on a boat, and a whale jumped out and bit off his leg, and then he got bit by a vampire. So he was never able to get, super fit and sexy like most vampires are in movies. So he's just this chubby old one-legged vampire that decides finally, after years of just trying to blend into the world, that he is gonna head out back to the sea and find the whale that ate his leg.
Okay, so pause there for a moment. Mike, can we do this? I like the idea where you're going, but can we do this whole movie with puppets? Actors make me nervous.
Okay. Well, that there could play into our favor, only because it'll make things a lot cheaper.
Oh, I like that.
Because whales, you got to CG those whales. And it would give off a very kid-friendly approach to it.
Yeah.
So we could go in a direction where, there's no fat shaming of vampires, but you could also like relate the vampire as being, anything you really want to be, right? So yeah, I could see we could make them kind of like the Sesame Street Muppet style.
Okay.
And think of the Count as a vampire. Yeah, we could go down that route. It would definitely change the tone. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't be going Oscar season.
No,
I'm pretty sure we could hit the family friendly aspect with puppets.
Okay, sounds good. And there you go. We have Mike's movie here. So let's see what my movie is. So we're going to start in a cloning lab. And we have Cleopatra. And she is leading the rescue mission for a missing child. So you know what? We don't really associate Cleopatra with helping children in need. So it's a bit more of a weird historical twist on something where she's action based. She's not just lazing around ordering people around. She's going to be action Cleopatra, and she's going to be trying.
I like where you're going here, kid, but
I love the voice.
You know what? What if we added a monster who was trying to kill the main character in their dream?
In their dream. Okay, we're like Freddy Kruegering it up. Okay, so, well, maybe Cleopatra is being chased in her dream from this monster, and she doesn't realize that the monster is in her dream, and she's looking for these missing children that are also being terrorized by this monster in their dream. We're really doing just Cleopatra on Nightmare on Elm Street, and kind of thinking like that, something a different, completely different horror movie take.
Okay, I like it. Let's get this thing made.
I think we're going with the Muppet vampires.
I don't know. Freddy Krueger meets Cleopatra as she's tripping balls trying to save children. That could, you slap based on a true story.
Things got weird, man. Things got weird.
But so as you can see, you're just kind of thrown into having to, on the fly, create a story.
Well,
right?
too, because we have, like, say for me, I had 3 character cards to choose from, and I didn't know what my plot was.
Yeah.
So I have a historical figure, and my plot is just whatever. Like, I would never have based those 2 together, but it's because one you know and one you don't. And so it really adds for a weird twist, for sure. And it's super fun, and it's great because we can play it with our son, or we can just play it with ourselves. There's not anything that there's maybe a few where he doesn't understand them, but
we just adapted them.
Yeah, and then we just change it around, right? So,
but it's a pretty fun game. It's called Pitchstorm,
and we picked that up at Toy Traders.
That's right. We got it at Toy Traders. It's from Skybound Games, but I'm pretty sure you can find it anywhere. Card games or Amazon, Target, whatever is your
and there
jam.
are expansion card packs.
There's 80s and other things as well. So lots of fun things. So Pitchstorm, it's a good one. Get that critical thinking going, and maybe you'll write the next greatest movie.
You never know.
So the main event has to do with Stephen King, and out of all his books, my favorite was The Shining. The idea of being haunted and the isolation really did kind of cue to me and my psyche as a teenager because of growing up isolated and alone and dealing with an alcoholic parent figure in my life and all that.
That makes sense, and it's horribly depressing.
And so it really did connect to me in a way of trying to be like the idea of learning and getting past it and whatnot, but also with the spirit side. I just thought it was creepy and it was interesting. It really was an engaging story. That being said, when I finally did watch the Stanley Kubrick film, I was mesmerized between the music and the shots and the scenes and all that. It was just fantastic. Even though it was completely different from the book, in retrospect, it was a very shell of what the book was. I still really have a great place in my heart for that film. And it's probably one of the only Kubrick films that I really like.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many of them and I don't connect to them, but that one I can. More than when Stephen King, they remade The Shining for the TV miniseries. I never could get into that one. And maybe it was because it was too close to the book that I was like, well, just
what's
read
the point
book.
then? Yeah.
So So sometimes adaptations can be great when they are different enough, but they still hold flame to the old without trouncing on it to being, not even what it is.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So that being said, The Shining is my favorite Stephen King novel. Dr. Sleep, Stephen King's sequel to his Shining novel, was not really my favorite of his novel. I was a little bored by it in a lot of places. But when it was announced that this film was coming out, I got excited only because of the fact that Mike Flanagan, the director of the Netflix series The Haunting of Hill House, that I was like, okay, this is good to have some premise, like some good kind of weight to it.
Yeah.
Right. And especially because they also got Hugh McGregor in it. And I was like, okay, that's got my interest going.
Yeah, they didn't just waste it on not a good actor or something like that. Yeah.
And then throwing into then that they then were tying it into The Shining, and it was going to be a sequel to Kubrick's Shining, which in some form.
Yeah, it's really nice that they didn't just say, well, we're making the book. They still connected, okay, it's a film version, we're going to connect the film versions and go from there with it.
And the reason why they do that is because they change the ending, and they go tie back to the original novel ending, so of The Shining. That's where I'll leave that spoiler, because if you know it, then you know it. But I'm coding. So.
Nice.
So you're not 100% in the know of it.
There you go.
So speaking of that, then, we went and we saw Dr. Sleep.
Yes. And what did you think of that, Mike?
It has been a long time since I have felt mesmerized by a film in the theater.
Yeah.
This year, I've been talking to you about how I've enjoyed movies that we've gone and seen, but nothing really had stood out to me as amazing. Like feeling like I was actually watching something unfold with some skill almost.
Well, yeah, they've been fluff movies and just entertaining, but nothing of like, wow, that was a good piece of art. It was a good story. It was well acted. Yeah. It was also engaging. It was a all around good movie. And this one hit that mark.
Exactly. I really liked that Warner Brothers allowed them to be trippy. There are scenes with some really trippy. It almost takes you back to like the 80s.
Yes.
Right in the where there's the flying around, and the turning, and like. And
I like some of the slow shots, the back and forth where you don't see what's happening, and then it pans back to see. Like I thought it was cool use of the camera movement.
Yeah.
To kind of give an unease of like what's going on over there, but it was really slow, and I like that.
Yeah, well, it followed a bit of the Kubrick style for The Shining itself, right? And the music that they used was very similar, and it was just daunting.
It started out right with that music. You're like, oh yes.
Yeah, I was just like, yes. Oh my goodness, you can't. No. Yeah, I was super excited. I enjoyed it from the beginning to the end. I know it was a long movie, and I've heard that people don't like that liked it because it was long.
But you know what? There was a lot going on. It covered a lot of years, and it did a good job. You needed to have that beginning set up to understand and care about the characters.
Well, like I said before, sometimes length in film is also to give you a sense of feeling.
Yeah.
When you look at things, and this was made to make you feel what Danny was feeling, that long dread, that long wanting, that overwhelming feeling, the not really knowing what was going on. And I felt that it really conveyed that. And
it's not necessarily, it's going on too long. People forget about everything, not just what's happening, what your eyes are seeing or what your ears are hearing. It's everything that it's making you feel. A really good piece of film that is art should invoke all sorts of senses for you and give you a real feeling for everything, which, very well easily could be length of movie and feelings for those types of things.
I don't think just because it was a long script and all that, but I do believe that sometimes length can play into what you want your audience to feel.
I think Ewan McGregor did a fantastic job too.
He did a great job.
The change from the character from the beginning and who he became was such a difference. I think he did a fantastic job. Yeah,
it was well done in all paces. I highly recommend it, especially if you are a fan of Kubrick's The Shining or if you're a Stephen King fan. Warner Brothers seems to know what they're doing with Stephen King's work right now. They've proven it with it. Yeah. And now they've proven it to me with Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, which is impressive for sure. Well, because there was some definite brutality in it. A few scenes that were actually very difficult to watch.
Yeah, especially being a parent.
And And it did a really good job of making me squeamish and find, okay, these are really not good guys, and the terror that must be felt, with the connection of their shine, essentially, right? And how horrible it would be to have this tapped into, and feel the terror that can be experienced. So.
There's something to be said right there, is that this film here made me squeamish for what happens in it when it comes to the kids that are involved in it. Whereas when Pet Sematary came out, I didn't feel that at all.
No, you didn't. You could care less, which was sad.
I didn't get any, heebie-jeebies from what happened in that film, but this here gave me the moment of like wanting to check on kiddo.
Yeah.
Right. Just because it was the way it was portrayed and the way it was shot and the way it was felt and acted and all that. Like it gave me a raw emotion to that one scene.
That makes sense. Well, when we were talking to the idea that, yes, obviously, because it's built already on a Stephen King story, but what a piece of art that it is, that it allows for a story like this to be told, that allows you to think how the shine itself could be interpreted into different facets of life, and has so many much more depth for you to think of it as maybe it is just a magical sense and force, or maybe it's imagination, or maybe it's mental health, or maybe it's, all these different things that we can attribute to the world now, and how it affects all of us. And, the horribleness that is in the world that is trying to say the imagination idea, and free thinking and connectivity to energy and spirits and whatnot, and how much of the world is trying to snuff all of that out.
Well, they say that with the shine and the steam and all that is stronger with children, and it gets
tarnished
and ruined by polluted.
Yeah.
Through what people eat and what people put in their body and what they do.
Medication.
And all that. And so when they become adults, they don't really have it.
Yeah. And it's, so that's a common concept that is in so many stories, is the ruin of the pure spirit that is childhood, and how, growing up can be just so damaging for us, and the world is not helping anything with that, and it doesn't give you any hope of how to figure it out, of course, but other than fighting back against the things that are literally trying to kill us with it. Right. And so it's an interesting concept, that it's not just a face value story. It can be thought of on so many different levels. And I think that's what makes it such a good story. Yeah,
I can see where this one here was written and how it was done made me think about a lot of things, including like alcoholism and all that. And even I told you after, I was like, it even had me looking at the idea of even a casual drink as like, do I really need it? Do I really need it? With how Ewan McGregor portrayed his alcoholism and the way he talked about it, and the way that it all was I like the conversation that he had about with one of the characters that he stumbled upon when he was having problems and being tempted by it, and the conversation of like, what was the point of drinking, and being something that numbs us and gets us through a world. And it's like, really, do we really want to live in that world? And it is sad, because it's really easy to fall into that trap, even without thinking about it. Maybe I'm not actually drinking to totally numb my brain, but it is a side effect that you can't be unaware of. Yeah. Even if you're trying to do it on a happy sense, it is still that way. And it's like, at least to think about it, right? Exactly. So where I feel that is another film that is out in the theaters that's getting a lot of recognition. This one here goes beyond for its critical thinking. Yes. The other one does not have the same weight to its story and what it's trying to say. No, it has. It's just a face value story in all reality. It's just trying to create chaos. Yeah. It's not trying to help anything. And if you enjoyed it, that's totally cool. I'm not going to name it, but it's a different style of story. And to me, I think there's more that you can bring into it for this one. And it shows that's where someone like, say, Stephen King, that has written such a rich, faceted story to build off of. Yeah. And as I say, I didn't really enjoy Dark Sleep when I first read it, but I can see a different appreciation for it now. And I almost be curious to go back and reread it. It'd be interesting to see as an adult now and as a father how things would change. Well, especially too, because I read it at a time where things weren't the greatest in our lives. Yeah. So now I've come out of the other side of that. Yeah, and then would it give you a different sense of it, for sure? Exactly. I definitely recommend Dr. Sleep. It's something that I was really happy we saw it. It's one of the first ones. As much as I enjoyed it this year, this one really stood out. It's funny to say that it's a sequel, but it felt original to itself because it's not a direct sequel to something, because it's been so long. Well, and I think too,
it was enjoyable, but I could probably watch Dr. Sleep probably more, only because there was the horrific aspect for it, but it was twisty and dramatic in a different sense, that you had a sense of fighting for justice and there's a hope and taking down the bad guys sense that was just not really the same feel as in it, you know?
So one thing I am looking forward to, because I did say, though, that I haven't really been able to catch a lot of ones that have sparked my interest this year. But we've unfortunately don't have a theater near us that's been playing, say, Jojo Rabbit or The Lighthouse, 2 movies that I'm really excited to see, but, you know, are playing it at one time, you know, a good hour away from us.
Yeah, and that's just not feasible for us.
There's that unfortunateness, and that's something that is sad when it comes to, say, cinema, that local theaters aren't being able to, say, play or aren't willing to play stuff that maybe has more weight to it and a little bit more cinematic gold.
Yes.
Right. So I'm really looking forward to catching those 2. So hopefully it won't be too long, because, you know, 2019 is coming to an end.
Yes.
And it'd be good to be able to have, when we have our little, you know, what was our most enjoyed things.
You know what? We saw a trailer on Dr. Sleep for that Knives Out.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see that movie.
Yeah, I hope that comes.
I hope it comes. Yeah, right? It's like fingers crossed.
It might not.
But that just looks like there's just so many different people in it and such an interesting story. I don't really even know what to expect from all of it. It just looks like this weird
quirky murder
mystery, and it looks like it would just be fun. And I'm curious to see how they weave that story. So
yeah, as the older I get, I still love my popcorn films, but I realize I start seeing some weight in some of the other films that are out there that are a little more quirky.
Yeah.
Right. So, and with that though, we're going to go back to popcorn films next week. So prepare your ears. So make sure you got multiple cups ready, because next week we are going back to George Lucas's original Star Wars trilogy. That's right. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. We're going to be watching all 3 of them this next week here, and then we're going to talk about them just like we did in September as we count down to the Rise of Skywalker.
I'm very excited to watch the original trilogy.
It's going to be great.
Yeah, kiddo hasn't seen it for a long time too.
So get a new spin on that.
Yeah.
So
it's super crammed with Star Wars, so it'll be
Star Wars weekend.
Star Wars.
Pew pew. That's right. So, as always, stay rad, dudes, and thanks for listening.
Thanks for joining us, and have a wonderful day. Thank you for listening. Want more rad content? Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And don't forget to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review.
And remember, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes!